Well, engine's toast. It's seized. Don't know what from. I'll figure it out later when I start pulling it apart. But for now, we just gotta make our way back to the Cruz. We have favorable winds right now. It's pushing us from the northwest down to the Cruz. So I'm about to set our spinnaker. Basically, 70 miles to cover from right here. So we need to use the wind as long as we've got it. It should stay throughout the thermal period, which is about now till about 6. So we have about 7 to 8 hours of decent wind. Hopefully we can make some good miles in those times, or we just drift for the night and then pick it up in the morning again.
Obviously we didn't plan for today to happen. We didn't want that to happen. But the silver lining is that we are sailing back to La Cruz, where we have resources, we have friends, and we have somewhat of a game plan. So I'm not super concerned. Right now I just feel really bad for Chris, who seems to be really upset.
I'm just very upset. Honestly, I'm super pissed off with life right now.
Sun's going down. We brought down the spinnaker and unfurled the Jenny, and it's having a little bit of trouble staying filled, but hoping that we get some good wind tonight so we can get back to Banderas Bay in a timely manner, where our friends will retrieve us and hopefully tow us in. So we're back on the Cruz a lot sooner than what we had anticipated. Figured it's a lot easier to get things done here since we have resources. So we have Sitka coming out here in their dinghy to help us. So they're going to be on standby to make sure we get the hook down okay. Not what we expected, but not sailing is what it is. We'll assess tomorrow and then have a new plan and go from there. This is a video we did not anticipate making, so here it is. You're just as surprised as we are. In times like these, we are glad that we know how to anchor Avocet under sail without the use of an engine. We feel that practicing this maneuver is crucial for any sailor, so if they find themselves in a similar situation, they will know what to do.
After anchoring, Chris wasted no time tearing into the engine to diagnose the problem. It was an all too familiar scene of Chris's head down in our bilge, covered in oil and diesel while swearing like a sailor.
Well, I think I found our root problem. The high pressure pump that we had issues with 4 months ago, and what made our engine run away from us, is leaking again. I installed this high pressure fuel pump from Beck Specific Limited. It was guaranteed by them to not have any problems. As you can see, the seizing wire is still as it was when they gave it to me. I have not touched or tampered with this pump at all. All I did was install it. As you can see, it's leaking diesel very badly out of its input shaft. When I pull it out of the engine, diesel literally poured out of the opening, and this is not supposed to leak diesel whatsoever. So, not cool, and just want to document it.
Disappointed was an understatement, but at least we knew that not all was lost and the Perkins could be rebuilt, which was a major break for us, considering a new engine would take months to arrive in Mexico.
After removing the injection fuel pump, the answer to what happened to our Perkins was clear and simple. Yet again, our injection fuel pump was the reason for our troubles. Unlike last time it failed and resulted in a runaway, this time the pump catastrophically failed all at once. The loss of power and knocking was a result of the pump not supplying the proper PSI to the injectors, hence giving an injector knock, which at the time I mistook for a rod knock. Once we shut down the engine and tried to restart the motor, it seized and wouldn't budge. At the time, we didn't know what was wrong or that the motor had filled itself with diesel and hydrolocked itself.
You are 1,000 times less than you were literally 10 minutes ago. Yeah, no, you were way up shit's creek. You're now just in piss poor puddle right now. Like, it's not that bad.
To regain faith in our engine, I needed to verify with my own eyes that the internals of the motor hadn't been damaged in not only the recent hydrolock, but also previously with the runaway. When life gives you lemons in the form of projects, you make lemonade and knock out as much as you can while you're in there, which led to my decision to dismantle the engine and rebuild. Another reason we decided to partially rebuild our Perkins was due to our location. If we had still been in California, we probably would have chosen to repower with a Beta Marine. But importing a new diesel engine here in Mexico wasn't in the cards due to timelines, taxes, and other logistics that made this option unobtainable. The answer to get Avocet moving again before hurricane season was to rebuild what we already had.
Yeah, all right, we got the head off. It's great. Came off pretty easy. And I'm just now kind of looking at everything. I don't see any major flaws, which is great. Cylinder walls are pretty good for being an old engine. I'm gonna suck out all the oil that's fallen in here just due to me taking everything apart and clean it all up. And I shouldn't have, ideally I shouldn't have to touch these cylinders. I should be fine. I'm gonna replace the head gasket, which is always a good thing to do. I don't see any ruptures in it though, which is great. So it means our runaway wasn't terribly destructive, because we would see it right now if there would be an issue. Well, I am cleaning out all the pieces. Got the head ready to go outside. I got a little cleaning station built out there to try to maintain the oil in one spot. And yeah, so far everything's looking really great. A couple high pressure hoses need to be remade. I'm gonna find a guy to do some sandblasting. That'll be very helpful to make this thing look better. And other than that, tomorrow the block comes out, which is exciting and scary, but exciting.
You sure? Doing this all on a moving boat is a little challenging.
If we get to rebuild this entire engine on the hook, it's pretty badass. That's some next level shit right there.
It's pretty salty, Chris.
Yeah, it's pretty salty. Not many people have rebuilt an entire 4.108 on the anchor. Get in here. Okay, so we got a plan. Today the engine is coming out of the floor, which is something that I've been looking forward to ever since we bought the boat, to be honest with you. But just haven't done it yet, and today is the day. So the plan is to rig up a beam to lift up the engine, because our engine's in the floor in the middle of our boat. There's no way I can use the mast to actually lift it out. I have to support it some other way. And the way I'm gonna do that is using the port light in the head and the port light in the galley. I'm gonna put a beam in between the two of them, and then rig up a chain hoist to the beam and then lift out the engine that way. So the last step in removing the engine is just gonna be unbolting the bell housing from the transmission, slide it off the input shaft, and it should come on up. So it's a big day, right? I don't know.
Well, we called in some reinforcements because it's always a good idea, especially when you're lifting heavy things. So we got Jay and Kenna here. Luckily, they're well versed in Cheoy and how to navigate things and where to put things. So we're gonna try to get this baby out.
Unfortunately, it would not budge. So instead of popping the two apart, Chris had to break the drive plate in half, then cut the remaining collar that was seized to the splined input shaft of the transmission.
Well, this thing is proving to be so hard. The dampener plate, which takes the flywheel and adapts it to the spline of the transmission, is seized. So I am brute forcing an adapter plate or damper plate apart, and it's there. I think I had like 3 more little studs holding it on. So it's being really stubborn to get off. When these things are put on, if you don't put any grease on the input shaft of the transmission, they tend to seize up. So this is not the first time I've done this before, and it's the same kind of pain in the ass every time. Right now that adapter plate is mangled. You can see it's supposed to come off of that shaft, and it's not. So at the very least we need a new adapter plate now. Luckily flywheels are very tough and hardy. We're free! I've won! Ah! I've won, you piece of shit! It was very destructive. I totally ruined the damper plate, but it's seized on there, so I'm gonna have to use a puller hopefully and pop that thing off. I was gonna put a new one on anyways. This one's original, so they should be replaced every now and then. But yeah, just like that, she's free, she's ready to come off. But of course now it's like the Rockies point of the day. Gotta love changing a motor out in the middle of an anchorage. But I'm just taking the ATF fluid out of the transmission so I can lift it out and get it sandblasted. That'd be rad. We're like minutes away from seeing the bottom of our engine for the first time ever. And seeing, more importantly, our bilge. I cannot wait to make that clean. I'm pretty good.
I'm good.
Holy shish kebab.
Wow, look at that.
Where are these springs at?
They're in here.
So daddy. Oh.
They're not even fucking left. Look at that.
Wait, I want to film this.
Wow, holy moly. Oh, look at all that shit. I can see the bottom of my bilge.
Whoa, it's so gross.
Whoa.
Wow. It's just as gross as I thought it was.
Wow.
Hello,
And that's
darkness,
been-
my old friend.
Maybe.
We can bring it forward. Bring it forward. Yeah.
Can I?
No.
Well,
No.
3/4 of the weight.
It's more.
That looks so cool.
Oil's really bad for you, as your biggest organ is your skin, and the heavy metals that break down into the oil go right into your bloodstream.
Don't do it.
So how does that make you feel, Chris?
I mean, not good.
Hold up your hands. Hold up your hands. Let me see them. Are you gonna wear gloves?
If I find them.
Are you gonna wear gloves?
If I have any.
To be fair, a lot of times when I do boat work,
Yeah,
like,
this fucking guy.
like sometimes you can't. It's just too slippery with like gloves, and then, but like if you can, like when you're cleaning, you can fit.
I don't know. I call bullshit on this.
All right.
I think we can find gloves. The kids are gonna come out with like
They're
three
gonna come out.
eyes.
I almost hit my head again.
Chris almost came out with 3 eyes right now.
All right, I'm getting to work. Thank you guys.
Well, you can tell where Chris has been.
There's no room today.
Oily boy. That actually be pretty funny for the video. Explain that.
Wow. That's a leak. Jesus Christ. I think today is day 3 of taking apart the engine, so I'm very deep into it at this point. I took off all the timing gears on the front of the engine, and it's looking really good. So there's no signs of wear, especially up in the high pressure fuel pump input shaft, and this is where all of the diesel came through our engine. So if there was going to be vast problems with wear, I would see it here, and I don't see any problems. It looks really good. The seals on the front of the engine were totally ruined though. If there's something that got ruined by the diesel, it's all the seals, because they are all just literally falling apart in my hands. So I didn't really want to go this deep into the front of the engine. I wanted to keep this plate on the front, but the seal that holds back the oil, this one that goes all the way around, was totally gone. Not even there anymore. So this means I had to pull off all the timing gears, which is a process. So I marked everything and keeping everything top dead center, which should be good, but it just have to wrap my head around keeping an engine in time is a thing. It's nice to be this deep into it because I know I'm going to have the peace of mind that it's done right when it's put all back together with all brand new seals. So yeah, like I said, everything's looking really good so far. The next thing I'm going to do is lean it on its back and take off the oil sump. I have a brand new oil pump to put on. I'm going to pop off a couple caps from the main bearings and just inspect the main bearings and make sure they're all good. From today on, everything will be rebuilding and no more dismantling. So that is a really nice achievement to have reached. I'm glad we finally made it. We've done all of this work so far on anchor, which is pretty cool, having to not have to pay for our mooring or slippage or whatever. So tomorrow we are going to go to a marina because I'm actually at the point now where the engine's kind of at a standstill. I'm waiting for parts. I'm waiting for the sandblasting to get done. So I'm going to turn my attention to the engine bay, and I found some epoxy paint, and I'm going to grind out the entire engine bay and repaint it. Just popped off the oil sump, and I'm looking at our main bearings, crankshaft, connecting rods, bottom of the cylinders, Oil sump, oil pump. Yeah, I get to look at it all now. I'm gonna pop off one of these main bearing caps and just inspect the wear on the crankshaft and kind of just do a general assessment on whether or not we need to put new main bearings in and also the connecting bearings as well for the pistons. But can't really tell much from right now. I'm glad it all came apart with no problems. I didn't break any of the bolts holding the sump on, and that is a win because it would have been a total nightmare if I did that. So there's no like really any metal shavings in the bottom of the oil sump, which is awesome because it being a marine engine, I can't drain the sump through the bottom. I always have to suck it out. So the fact that I don't see any metal shavings or any metallic anything in the oil is really good, because not only would that tell us that there's an issue, but this engine's never had an oil change from the bottom out. It's always been sucked out, so you really can never get all the stuff out of the bottom. I've already ordered a new oil pump just to replace this one because I know running diesel through the oil pump is not good for it, and that happened for a long period of time. So just to be on the safe side, got a new one of those in the mail. Today we're gonna move to a slip and get to work on grinding out our engine bay.
This is Legacy. You want to go down one?
Copy that way.
Alright, see you guys. Thank you again. Well, to work I go. Let's find power and start bubbling in my little space. Today is the day where I get to get real itchy and grind away the remnants of gel coat and oil and everything else that's gross in our bilge and get it all prepped for paint. So right now I'm taking off the last of the components that are in the engine compartment. I'm gonna get it all out of the way because I'm gonna make a giant mess in here today. Hopefully I can get all the grinding that needs to be done today. Unfortunately, Mexico Marine doesn't have a Tyvek suit for me, and none of the people in the boatyard wear Tyvek suits either. So it's gonna be an itchy night for me, but like I said, if I can get it done one day, I'll be stoked. Now I'm in the process of making myself a little bubble so I can hopefully contain all of the fiberglass to just one spot of the boat and hopefully keep the rest of the boat pretty good in terms of getting glass everywhere. So I'm just about to suit up now. I'm just gonna enclose myself in. Get to town with a grinder. Hopefully it shouldn't last any longer than like 4 hours, 5 hours. I think that should be just about as much time as I need to get it all done and hopefully get out of there. Final wipe down with acetone, getting rid of the last of all the dust. I found some 2-part epoxy paint at the Comex up here in the Cruz, so I want to do a lot of coats just because this needs to be very, very tough and durable. So that's about it.
Well, it is Jay and Kenna's last day in the cruise, and we are very, very sad to see them leave. We're actually about to head out to dinner for their final supper. I'm not sure if Max and Karen will join. I hope they do, but we'll see. So Yeah, I'm really sad. I feel like I'm gonna cry a lot when Kenna leaves.
In 2018, when we first bought Avocet, there were not many Cheoy Lee owners on social media. But one of the very few was Jason, who was quick to reach out and offer any insight on the vessel we had just bought since he had owned Sitka for about a year already. We thanked him for his offering and made a lighthearted promise of maybe sharing an anchorage someday. And 5 years later, we made good on that promise. Little did we know, he and his girlfriend Kenna would become two of our best friends. When we tried to leave La Cruz the first time, it was emotional, but after returning and making even more memories, it just added to the difficult feelings associated with sailing separate ways. But this time, we were not the ones leaving. With our engines still out of commission, we had to watch our beloved Jay and Kenna sail north into the Sea of Cortez, where Sitka would call home for the summer.
Well, this is a first. I've never cried on camera. Jay and Kenna just left. And this is the hardest part of cruising, is meeting really cool people and then having them leave or you're sailing away. I know that we're gonna see them again. That's the only thing that's really holding me together. I know it doesn't look like it, but I've never met someone like Kenna. We really became best friends almost instantly, and same with Jay too. He is the exact comedic relief that Chris and I needed in our lives, especially with all of this chaos going on. And it's been so amazing to have them close by and see them every day. And I'm eternally grateful for that. And I'm so happy that we made it to Mexico when we did, so we could have this time with them. And I'm glad that our boat decided that it didn't want to have the engine work anymore, so we had to come back to La Cruz and spend some more time with them. I don't really know what else to say. I'm overwhelmed. I'm thankful. I'm sad. I'm excited. So that's where I'm at. What do you think?
I'm ready to be done working on the boat. I'm ready for a break from the boat, honestly. My girl, pretty, and put her away and go home.